The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is located in the Christian quarter in Jerusalem's Old City. According to Christian faith, that's the place where Jesus was crucified, where he was buried, and resurrected. So for many people, that's the place where Christianity was actually born. The church is divided to 6 different Christian denominations. 3 main ones has more territory and more rights within the church, which is the Catholic, the Roman Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox, which is the representative of all Orthodox churches in the Holy Land, and the Armenian Church, which is the National Church of Armenia. And besides the 3 large ones, there's 3 smaller confessions. One is the Syrian Orthodox Church, which is a tiny community believed to be one of the earliest Christian sects from the region. They still conduct most of their prayer and liturgy in the Aramaic language, which is the language that was spoken at the time of Jesus. You have the Coptic, which is the Egyptian Christian, which is another very small group in the region, and also considered to be as one of the earliest sects of Christianity. And except for them, you've got the Ethiopian Church that has the less rights from all of the others, but they're still part of the 6 Christian denominations who have any rights for rituals within the Holy Sepulchre. Well, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is an historical site. I mean, it's a bit messy architectural-wise. It was built, rebuilt, burned, destroyed, rebuilt again. And the chaos in the architecture sort of reflects the daily life there. Well, the church itself is like a labyrinth. It's very dark and it has so many sacred spots and sites within it. So at any given moment, there's like dozens of things happening. On your right, you've got worshippers lighting up candles, a bundle of candles marking the 33 years of Jesus. On your left, there's people kneeling and praying or crawling basically on their knees. There's people kissing altars. Monks walking around with incenses, blessing holy shrines. Tourist groups following a guy holding an umbrella or a flower just to make sure they don't get lost in the crowd. In an average day, there's not a single language that's not heard there. Whether it's Arabic, whether it's Christian Arabs, whether it's Japanese, Brazilian pilgrims, people that make a long way trip from their homes just to come to the place where, according to faith, it all happened. I come from an ultra-secular family. Basically, don't really believe in anything and don't worship and don't practice anything. And I find it extremely intriguing and interesting to see how people, how strong it is within people, their faith. I don't share the same belief with the people I'm photographing, but I definitely respect, what I'm shooting. Most of the project was shot indoors inside the Holy Sepulchre. It's a large space, pretty dark. The light varies from one spot to another. And it's a huge challenge, and that's why I enjoy the project very much. I don't really like shooting outdoors on daylight, and especially not in the Middle East with a harsh light. So for me, shooting indoors in low light, that's one thing I really enjoy, because it challenges you every day. And every time you gamble a little bit, because sometimes you miss the picture. So you have to learn to live with it, and also to make the best out of yourself so it doesn't happen. There's a mixture of light sources, of ambient light. I work only with ambient light. I don't work with a flash. So you got candlelight, you got a little bit of tungsten light, you've got some rays of light coming in from shaft and skylights. You've got golden icons reflecting yellowish light. The Catholic section is very modern, and they love their energy saving, sort of more fluorescent bulbs. So every place the light changes, the atmosphere changes. So for me, the first commitment was to try to preserve the atmosphere and what I sense, and to try to transfer it into my images. The young woman with the red scarf was quite a unique moment, because it's a ritual that It's an Easter Saturday ritual that's only the Orthodox Church follows, and the Holy Sepulchre is full with about 12,000 people. And they're all expecting a symbol of a miracle to happen. Basically, there's a door in the roof of the basilica that's only opened once a year on that day, and in a specific hour, a ray of light hits the roof of the tomb, and magic fire bursts out. And then all the worshippers in the church, all the 12,000 people holding bundles of candles, and the whole church is just ablaze. It looks like the whole place is about to be on fire. And within all the crowd and the pushing and the shoving, I was waiting. I took an upper position that year to make something different. And they switch off all light sources, artificial, because everybody's waiting for the miracle. And the ray of light, a few minutes before it hit the tomb, it was hitting on that woman. And she was, I don't know, as if drawn to it, like almost like magnetically. And she was standing there, just her moment, praying to this ray of light that for her symbolizes, you know, a direct line from God. And it doesn't matter that among her were like thousands of people. It was like her moment. She was alone. Christianity is quite a minority in the Middle East, and especially in Israel, in the Holy Land. In Jerusalem, there's representation of over 20 different churches, different sections of Christianity. Being a minority, one would imagine people would kind of unite for a united front, you know, as the Christians of the Holy Land. But actually, what's happening is quite opposite. Jerusalem, you know, is not a melting pot. It's a place where things meet but never mix. Everybody is really preserving its own identity. You don't get a new blend of Jerusalem Christianity. You just have everything that's been here for hundreds of years, really fighting a battle to preserve things as they were. And that's exactly part of the status quo agreement. Like, if that was the way it was in 1850, that's the way it is today. In my images, I try to have sort of a corresponding with a lot of art history, a lot of images of Renaissance. I mean, I studied art, so part of my collective memory is all those famous Renaissance religious paintings. So whether it's the symbolic colors or the compositions or just my interpretation for something else. And I think a lot of people manage to identify with that. And the theme of religion, you know, people have a very ambivalent feeling about it. Many people sense that it belongs to the old world, but it's inevitable part of photojournalism, because religion is also the reason of many conflict in, you know, far history and recent history. So I think any image that can bring the religious story not in a dull way, also an intriguing way or more aesthetic way, will be published and will have a value, whether it's more artistic but also more photojournalistic. It's going to have this duality. It got to have that.